Hello everybody, this is Tim Blankenship with Divorce661.com, licensed and bonded legal document preparation firm specializing in divorce in California. And today we're trying something different. We're recording both a podcast and a video at the same time. So you may be listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher Radio, or you may be watching this on YouTube or one of the other various video channels. In today's episode, what we're talking about is an article I recently read. This was out of the United Kingdom, actually, and what they were talking about as it pertains to divorce is that the courts are looking at overhauling the law and, in essence, trying to give more rights to couples living together but not married, because they are finding that people are in long-term relationships yet not getting married, and then when they have a split, that there's no benefits to the parties that are splitting as you would in a regular marriage. Now, an issue that comes up is if you're not married, let's say this was something that happened in California. If you go through a divorce in California and you are in a short-term marriage, it's going to affect how spousal support, if any, is going to be given or provided. The length of marriage is one of the determining factors on how much and how long you'll get spouse support. And I want to tell you a story. I've had clients come in, and in one particular case, they had been living together for 17 years total, living together for 17 years, but were only married for 3. And the question was, well, how long is the marriage considered to be? Because we were together for a total of 17 years, but only married for 3. And the issue with that is that they don't look at the time together where you were not married. It's only going to be counted for the time you were married. So for 3 years, and because this particular spouse wanted spouse support, it was only going to be based on 3 years as opposed to 17 years, which is obviously a huge, huge difference. Now, in the United Kingdom, where this article is based out of, it brings up that point, and it is basically saying, is it even worth getting married if you're going to have the same benefits being unmarried as you do married? And that, I think that brings up an interesting, somewhat ethical viewpoint that I'm sure people would have different opinions on depending on who you talk to. But in California, it does bring up some interesting points, because if you are unmarried and you have children, one of the issues is going to be with the children and the paternity determination. In California, if you are married, then it is the courts figure, obviously, if you're the mom, there's going to be your children, no issue there. And if the father is married, it is agreed upon that is your child if you're married. That's just how the law works. If you're not married, that's not the case, and you have to do what's called parentage. And so there would be some issues with the children if you're unmarried, and if a similar law came into effect in the United States or California, for instance, it could pose some issues with children. So I thought this was an interesting topic I wanted to bring up, and we're going to be bringing up more issues that we're seeing and trends and things regarding divorce, not just in California, but across United States and things like out of country that we're seeing different things. And just wondering what people see, what people think rather, about this particular issue, if it is something that you think is good or bad. And I'll tell you what, being involved in divorce on a daily basis with folks here in California, I can tell you that we're starting to see a lot of short-term marriages being ended. And I think it's just a change in the culture, or the younger generations growing up, where we're starting to see where they simply doesn't have the same effect. Marriage doesn't have the same effect it did, for instance, with my parents or with me, where that is that true bond, and you're going to try and stick it out and fight it out. We're seeing a lot of short-term marriages with younger generations, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, and so on, and they're getting a divorce. It seems like it's more like just trading in a car. It didn't work out. The lease is over, time to get a new one. It's an interesting mindset where people kind of are, in that younger generation, are simply throwing in the towel just because things aren't working out. And for whatever reason, whatever mindset is in this generation, it seems that they have an easier time deciding on getting divorced than trying to work it out and keep their marriage going. Tim Blankenship, Divorce661.com. I hope you found this episode interesting, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in on our podcast.